Hello and welcome to The Buzz. I'm your host, Dion Spires. On this month's episode, we're taking a look at the success of one of Polk County's best and brightest schools, Mulberry Middle School. Mulberry Middle was one of only 3 schools in the state to be recognized as excellent by the College for Every Student program, a nonprofit organization that helps children from low socioeconomic backgrounds go to college. Last year, they had the honor of winning a School of Distinction Award, a title that they've earned for 4 years in a row. I got the chance to chat with the CEO of the organization, Rick Dalton, and Mrs. Kelly Laro, a teacher at Mulberry Middle who leads the college program. Let's check it out.
I'd gone to graduate school. I was lucky enough to do a doctorate at Harvard, and one of my classmates became the head of a foundation. And I was talking about this vision that I'd had for several years where I would help, and the organization would help schools in underserved communities, not necessarily poor, but that didn't have the same resources as maybe well-funded suburban schools. And we would help students in those schools succeed, go to college, graduate from college. And my friend from Harvard said, okay, I'm going to fund you for 2 years. And I left Middlebury and started CFES. That was 26 years ago. And I've been very, very lucky because CFES is really, it's a team effort. It takes a village to really make all of these things happen. And we have 3,000 volunteers who work with us. You mentioned the number of schools, 200 schools, and right now about 25,000 students. But it's people like Kelly Laro and Michael Young in this community who make CFES happen on a day-to-day basis. So it is so much more than the headquarters or the central office, or certainly me. I realize that I'm just a small part of making this organization happen and allowing us to be successful.
5 years ago, we had our first set of scholars, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, for a total of about 100 students in that cohort. And since then, we've just been able to grow the program little by little each year, adding more pieces, kind of with familiarity and being able to repeat what worked last year and then grow on that each consecutive year. So we always start off the year kind of explaining the CFES program in general and talking about the 3 core practices and making sure that they understand kind of the community that they've joined and their place in it and how their behaviors and even their academics can sometimes reflect on the whole group. But then as we get into more detailed classwork, we'll focus on specific essential skills, sometimes working on teamwork and networking and agility and perseverance, and a lot of times goal setting. All of those things fit together. So one of the projects that class helps me with is the Great American Teach-In every year. We had more than 30 guests on our campus for the Great American Teach-In, and it was entirely driven by students in my CFES leadership classes. 6th graders helped me come up with a time scale, all the way going like 2 months ahead of the event. What do we need to be doing on campus to scrape the gum, make it look a little bit nicer, clean up, notify teachers, start calling guests? So we literally had a checklist designated by time ahead of the event so that we knew all the things that we needed to do sequentially to make this a really successful event. 7th and 8th graders called those guest speakers and invited them to come on campus. They had a script because they're really nervous about that. But it was great to see them get that positive feedback. When someone would accept that invitation from them, you could see that really helped their ego and helped them feel a lot of leadership potential in themselves, that they were able to make that happen. There are a few students that I know when they've come into the program, either as a 6th grader or a 7th grader, and they've had goals for their future, but it's been really vague. And sometimes those goals change and mature with time, and sometimes they just become more defined and they understand the pathway. So this is where I want to go, but now I actually know the steps to get there and be more successful. And I see that a lot with the high school scholars. Sometimes they'll come back and mentor our kids, and it's great to see. They're like superstars on this campus because our scholars remember those older kids from when they were here and they were just a little out of reach socially, you know? And here they are coming back at lunch wanting to sit with them at a table and talk to them about their future and kind of hand down some some of the lessons that they've learned. And that's a really wonderful opportunity for using our scholars once they are at the high school to come back and give back to our younger scholars that are just starting in the program. I've also seen some of their goals evolve just within a year at school because of the peer mentoring that they have at lunch. We have someone that takes notes of those meetings, and students will start off with, well, yeah, I know I want to finish high school. I think maybe I'll go to college. And then a month later, the notes say, it's just like as the conversation rotates around the table and they hear other students say, oh, well, yeah, I'm really excited about USF. Did you see that thing when we were there for the engineering expo? And oh my gosh, when we went to UF and the dorm rooms there. And so that excitement kind of builds and then brings up and inspires the motivation and goals and plans that the other students have in that same group. So even sometimes just within a lunch period, you'll see that talk rotate around the table and students' goals become more defined and a little bit more ambitious.
What many students learn today may be obsolete by the time they take on their first job, or certainly their second or third job. So there's a real need for us to teach young people how to learn. And how do you learn? Plus, if you have the essential skills, you have that perseverance, the fortitude to make it happen, to fight through challenges and difficulties, which inevitably are going to be part of really all of our experiences. Teamwork. You need to realize that you can't do it alone. And just as CFES doesn't do it through one person, we do it through literally thousands and thousands of people. Agility, so important today because things are changing so rapidly. Young people, old people need to be ready to change and pivot. And the one thing you can count on is change. Things aren't going to stay the same. So agility is very, very important. Networking, absolutely essential that our young people know how to build their team. And we talk often to our CFES scholars about how, again, they can't do it alone. They need a support group that's going to help them get through middle school and on to high school and through high school and into college and through college and onto a career. So begin to identify who your team members, who do you want to be like? Who are your role models? Put those people on your team. And even though older people may seem busy, nothing is more sort of rewarding than helping out the youth of today.
I really enjoy seeing their leadership potential. There are some kids that start off and they just seem so nervous and so shy, especially as a sixth grader. The transition from elementary to middle school can be really shocking. But to put them in a leadership role that they're not sure about, and honestly, I'm not really sure about to begin with, and watch them blossom and they just take ownership, that is my favorite part of the entire program. And now recently, I mentioned that we've done the program for 5 years, so we have some siblings coming up now. And to get to see someone do a happy dance when they realize, I'm the CFES teacher and I want to talk to you. How do I get in the program? Because my big sister told me about this 2 years ago, and she came home excited about a trip that she had taken or something she had learned. Like, those are really great moments.
I know that college is a first step. And there's a lot of talk in this country about, well, not all students need college. Well, yes, all students who were from low-income communities and low-income households, and I was one of those young people, we need college. Now, it may not be a 4-year college, it may be a 2-year college. It may just be a certificate. If I'm a plumber, I'll need to go to college. Certainly if I'm a surgeon, I'm going to need lots of college. If I'm a farmer, I'm going to have to keep learning so that I can fix my machinery, so that I can understand how crops grow, how to deal with pests and pesticides. So learning is a key tool to moving out of low income to middle, to upper middle income station in life. And that's why this is so important to me.
I just hope that the program continues to grow. I think it's great that we take what works and we continue to reinforce that every year. And as a teacher, that's easy, right? Like I've done that last year and I've got that down pat. I know that that's going to work again. And so now I can start searching for bigger and better ideas to layer on top of that. And I think it's awesome that the program itself, the organization grows. So we now have essential skills that talk not only about leadership, but also about the teamwork and networking and perseverance and agility. And just teaching those words to middle school students can sometimes help them a lot with understanding some of the struggles they're going through, putting a word and a name to their struggle. I need a little more perseverance right now with my math homework. I'm having some difficulty with that, and that can help them with their long-term success as well.
After the break, I'll sit down with some talented students from Mulberry Middle and High School to talk with them about their experiences. Stay tuned. You're watching The Buzz on PGTV.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Welcome back to The Buzz. In case you're just tuning in, this month's episode is all about the College for Every Student program at Mulberry Middle School. I got the chance to sit down with some students involved with the program, so let's see what they had to say about it. I'm here now with 3 middle school students from the College for Every Student program. Thank you guys for being here to talk to me today, taking your time out of your day. Sure, it doesn't suck to miss class. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Good. So let's start off by talking about how you guys got involved with the College for Every Student program. Why did you guys get started here?
I got started because my sister was doing it, and I heard that she was going to colleges, so I wanted to do that.
Okay, you mean on the college visits? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. And when did you start?
My 6th grade year.
I got interested by CFES because Jeanette had CFES in 6th grade, and she went to a lot of field trips, and I wanted to go too. And then in 7th grade, I had CFES for the first time.
Okay, cool.
I started when I was in 6th grade because they had told us about it in elementary school because I used to be in this program called STEM, and then they said it was similar, and then that we got to go on field trips, and it was really fun. So, yeah.
Cool. So what is it that you guys do in the College for Every Student program? Does it change up your academic work in school, or is it mostly the field trips? What does it entail for you guys?
Well, mainly we go on field trips and then when we go on field trips, we get this perspective of what college people go through. On one field trip, we got to see how their dorm life is, how they live and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then academic wise, if we ever have questions or anything, she'll always Miss Lara will always be there to help us with our academics.
Okay.
It changed my academic because now I worry about my grades, so I'll know what college needs so you could success.
CFES affected me academically too because I used to not really care about anything. I never thought about what college I was gonna go to, and then we started going into looking at colleges, and then it really interested me, and now I look through stuff and I worry about my grades too.
So you guys said that you go to different colleges and it's gotten you interested and kind of given you an experience with them. What schools have you guys gotten to visit thus far?
USF, Polk State, Polytech, and I think that's it.
Okay, cool. So up until this point, what is each of your favorite memories from the College for Every Student program?
Mine was USF because like exploring that big campus was really fun, and I got to do it like in groups with my friends and stuff. So like, I mean, of course we had chaperones, but like it's like we were free to explore whatever we wanted to see about the campus.
Nice.
My favorite experience was USF because it was on my birthday, and we were allowed to go anywhere, and we could see how experiments were done. And one of my favorite one was like you could see how the water changes color if it's acid or base.
My favorite experience was being able to go to West Point in New York, and that was like a separate trip. They only allowed like 4 students from the whole middle school to go, and it was really fun because you got to sleep in dorms like normal cadets would sleep in, and their food was really good too.
So is there anything that you guys so far, I know it's only been a few years in the program, but that you guys feel like you've learned about yourselves as students or as people because of College for Every Student?
I feel like I care more about school than I used to. Like, I used to get bad grades, but when I joined CFES, it kind of straightened me out a little bit more. It showed me that it's not cool to have bad grades.
CFES has showed us that you could take tests of your personality, so it could show you like what you might like when you grow up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like a career placement kind of test to give you a direction to look into. Cool. So you guys, did everyone take that in the program, or is that just an optional thing?
I think mostly everybody does it.
Okay, cool. Has that helped you with kind of figuring out what you might be wanting to major in down the line? Cool.
Oh yeah, I learned that I can like keep going and keep dreaming like what I want to do when I grow older, and like just keep trying even if like you fail. Like just keep going.
Yeah, you can only go up. So for your future, I know you're still a little ways away from college, but how have your goals changed since before you started in College for Every Student to the point that you're at now? And what are your goals for the future?
I didn't really think about going to college or like think about it and think how my grades affected it, but it really did. Like CFS really did do that for me. And my goal, really, I want to get some type of degree to be a lawyer, and then I want to go to law school and all that.
I thought like mostly colleges like were all the same, but when I joined, like they taught me like some colleges are different for some programs. Like if you want to be a teacher, like some colleges have for teachers, and military if you want to be a military.
There's kind of specialized schools for different types of areas, and a lot of schools have maybe a better program for a certain career path than another one.
So like before I was in CFES, like I never really thought of anything. I never like really set any goals to be in anything, but like now like one of my goals is to get into West Point like when I go to college, because like when I went there it was like really cool, and like I kind of want to join the Army sometimes. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for talking to me about all of that, and I appreciate your time. Good luck with everything.
With College for Every Student, we are able to have people, that support system that we need, and it's really like it's good to know that people believe in you and that you can heighten your expectations. So college is a possibility to me because of CFES.
Cool. And what brought you to CFES?
Well, whenever I began middle school is when I first heard about CFES. It was with my mentor, Miss Danny. She's the one that had told me about it. And I didn't really know much about it at first until she introduced me to more people that were in it. And I knew some people there were some people that I didn't know were in it in here and then. So it's like, it just made me want to stay. And after seeing a few colleges, I thought it was really fun, and so I just continued to go on with it.
Cool. And Felicia?
I felt like I could experience more things when I was in the program, and that I could see other colleges like I didn't know about, like Southeastern, like, and Florida Southern, and all the other colleges that we got to visit. I never really knew about them or that they were like so close to home, and so I got to visit and see and like really experience like, oh, I really like this school, and like learn more about it.
Now you're a senior in the program, right? So when you got started or found out about it in 7th grade, once you started it, what was it that really kept you here and wanting to fulfill that whole program through senior year?
Besides the college trips that we got to experience, we also did just group activities with each other, and we got to learn about like other scholars that were in the program. We got to learn more about each other.
With CFES, we get to go to college trips, which when I first began, I didn't really know much about college and how it was in college. I thought it was like this whole different, like we had to, like a job almost being there, but it's like, it feels like now that I've actually been able to go to college, I see like, it's just like living like a normal daily basis, your normal life. I think it would revolve around just education every day, and you'd have to stay at school. And then once I actually got to go to college, I got to see how people there get to go home, and then they get to stay there if they want. It's more fun than I thought it would be.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah. And then also when we get some in CFES to give us, sometimes they bring in speakers to speak to us about like what jobs they have and how their experiences was in college from certain colleges that we go visit. So we get a better example of how people that actually graduated from the college are doing today.
Nice. That's really, really important to get the kind of reinforcement that, this works. Mm-hmm. So makes it all worthwhile. What about you, Felicia?
The most important thing I learned, I feel like that all of us learn in CFES, is leadership and leadership through service. Before, whenever I first started the program, I really wasn't a people person. I really wouldn't go up to people and be like, hey, and start talking to them and getting to know them. But after like being in the program, I've gotten to like get closer to my peers, like become friends with them and get to know them. And even with speakers that come in, just being able to know that I can contact them and be like, hey, I need this thing, and just not being afraid to go out there and achieve what I need to achieve. And also leadership through service. There was an instance that I got to come down here from the high school to the middle school to talk to some of the middle school scholars, I think last year or the year before, to talk to them and see how they enjoyed CFES and how it has impacted them. And I feel like just seeing how we've gone through it and how they're going through it now and the progress that we have made, it's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what have you guys learned about yourself through the program? Is there anything that you guys maybe didn't realize before you started the program that you've come to realize now?
Yeah, before I would try and keep myself away from speaking to people sometimes. Like when especially when we first started, it'd be like a group of people and I'd just be the one kind of in the back. Right. And then now I think like I'm more, like every time we get a opportunity to do something or something with speaking, I actually want to do it. So, nice. I like speaking and doing stuff like that now compared to when I first started. So I see a change from then. And then now that I see now that I know a little bit more, like, if I get an opportunity, I just want to take it and see what goes on from there.
So when you started, you would not have done a TV show here. Cool. Yeah. What about you, Brenda?
The change I've seen since beginning is that I believe in myself more than I used to. I have learned that anything is possible if I believe in myself, and having that mentality is what leads to success as well. And it changed drastically because I felt like no one was supporting me and that I had no chance. But now there's tons of people, Miss Lero, Miss Rivera, and Miss Danny, my mentor.
The change that I've seen over the years in this program, Well, to build on what she was saying, like I can like see that, oh, I can go farther than what I expected. Like I can do more than what I expected. Like in middle school, I was like, oh, I'll maybe go to college, or I'll just probably get a job and do whatever just to make ends meet and everything. But now that I'm a senior and I've seen that, oh, okay, if I do this, this, and this, then I'll be able to get myself farther than just being the minimum. Like I can go above and beyond what I expect of myself.
So I understand that within the CFES program, you guys have 3 core practices that you guys kind of work in constantly. What are those practices, and can you talk about the application of them a little bit through the program?
One of the core practices is mentoring. So what these people do, our mentors, they basically keep us in check that we are doing everything that we're supposed to be doing, and make sure that we don't fall behind, that we're doing the most that we can. So if we like get a score that isn't that great, they'll keep encouraging us and tell us that no, it'll get better, and they always are there to support and also just make sure give us opportunities like scholarships and community service.
Teamwork, since you can't be a leader and be by yourself. You got to learn how to speak to people and communicate with them. And also perseverance, which you really need, because you can be given all the help that you, like they can give you all the help, but if you're not willing to do the work, then you're not going to get too far. So that's also important. And goal setting, which, because you need to have some place that you're trying to get to, which is important, because even if it's a short-term goal, small short-term goals will eventually add up to a long one.
Our third one is Pathways to College. So with the field trips, we do get to experience the different colleges in the area and also in neighboring county and Hillsborough County. And it just opens our eyes to like, oh, there's other things outside of just Mulberry, Lakeland, and Bartow. Like we can go to like state colleges like University of South Florida, or even Florida Southern or Southeastern.
What are your goals now that you've gone through the program, and have those goals changed from what you had when you started the program?
When I first started, I wanted to be a criminal detective, but now I was exposed to like different fields and such. So now I actually want to be a medical researcher. And I think it's because of the community service that has been engraved into me. So it's just that now I just want to help the community. I want to give back to society in some way. And I feel like finding a cure for something would do that.
Oh, yeah. That's a great way to help the community, for sure.
When I first began, like I said, I was very timid. I didn't really want to speak to people that much. I was kind of shy. But now that I've been through CFES, I've gotten to meet new people. And I know people from different areas. I think now that I want to communicate and network with more people, and once I get a job, I still want to be able to help out my community and wherever I end up living. So that's changed compared to what I thought I would have ended up.
At the start of this program, I don't think I really remember what I wanted to be, but now I want to be a music educator. So I plan on going to college, hopefully getting my master's and becoming a music teacher.
Great. Do you have an idea of what level of education you want to be in, as far as kids or college or?
I wanted to start out as a high school director, but then eventually move on to college teaching. So, yeah.
Well, I wish you guys the best of luck with all of those goals, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to me about the program today. Thank you so much for tuning in to this special episode of The Buzz. For more information about the College for Every Student program at Mulberry Middle School, visit mms.polk-fl.net and click on the College for Every Student tab at the top of the page. If you'd like to catch this episode again, tune into PGTV on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 1 or 7 a.m. or p.m. You can also find this and all of our previous episodes on YouTube at the Polk Government YouTube page. I'll see you next time on The Buzz.